whether you think that, this is right or wrong. And you get a lot of people out there who say, I believe this, and the only reason they believe is because somebody said so. That's okay if that's how you want to live your life, right? You can live your life however you want to. That is absolutely free will. But if you choose to be a part of God's family, if that's your decision, if your decision is to be in his fold, then shouldn't there be some benefits in that other than just to say, I feel like I'm right? Shouldn't you be getting something out of that relationship to where you're prosperous, joyous, peace? It's so many people out here, y'all, and this ain't nothing to do with what I'm about to talk about, but there's so many people out here that don't have peace. And that's like the number one thing that we're supposed to get. But they so uneasy and they so angry. And the reason I know they're angry is because if you do anything that they don't like, oh my goodness, you could be in your own house and do something and they think it's wrong. That's not peace. Peace means, look at what he doing. Yeah, that's it. God bless him. Help him. Is it affecting me? No. There's so much going on in this world, in this church, in other churches, in the Christian community that I wouldn't necessarily do and don't agree with. But if I got angry and upset over everything, I'd never be happy. How? How is it? And no matter what law you pass, no matter what rule you set in place, no matter what you put up there, you can't change who people are and make them believe what you believe. Period. You can't do it. I don't care what you do. You can go over to other countries, look at them strict laws, and think that ain't somebody who don't feel that way. And if you knew how people really felt, if you knew how really people felt about you, you wouldn't be happy. So you trying to change the way they believe through laws and rules? It don't work. The biggest secret in the world that everybody knows, it doesn't work. It never does. The only thing it does is get you votes, but that's beside the point. So why are we here today? New lesson. Feeds into this. What is the point of it? Why do we believe what we believe? Why we even come here? Why you pray? Why you read? What is the point? That's the lesson. What's the point? Why? Who cares? Right? I do this. I live this because mama said so. Because I was raised this way. Because I feel this way. But at the end of the day, you can take one challenge. What does that mean? That means you can take one question for somebody saying, why you believe that? You say, because Jesus died for my sins and I trust in him. And they ask one more, why? You're done. That's all you got. You take one challenge, right? You can't debate it. You just believe it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do you defend yourself to yourself? I'm not talking about the world. I ain't talking about other people challenging you. I'm talking about yourself. Because the biggest doubter of you is you. I don't care how hard you practice. When it's competition time, whether you're a weightlifter, whether you spelling bee, whatever, Jeopardy, pick it. You can study, you can practice, you can practice, you can practice, and when the lights come on and they say, here you go, you could have lifted that weight 1,000 times. And now all the eyes on you. Oh my goodness, I hope I can lift this weight. That's how we act. You know what I tell my kids? You had so many people who, how many of y'all afraid of public speaking? Yeah, you raise your hand. Public speaking. If it was 1 million people out here, I put it in perspective, if it was 1 million people out here and the TV cameras all shining on you nervous? Yes. Okay. If I was up here talking and I'm just comfortable and all the millions of people and I call your name, come up here. I got a question to ask you. You nervous? Okay. And you walk across that stage. I got one question for you. What is your name? Are you nervous answering me? No. A lot of y'all still nervous. Yeah. My name is. That's my only question is what's your name? But the lights come on and all of a sudden you nervous answering a question that you know more than anybody else. I didn't ask you, give me the periodic table, or, hey, can you solve this math problem in front of these millions and millions? I asked you, what's your name? And you walked nervously up here. You answered me, my name is, and then you leave. Oh, that's it, thank you. And you leave nervous. And then when you sit down, whew, oh my goodness, my heart is beating out my chest. Eyes make a difference, which is why we typically follow majority rule, because majority rule is comfortable. Majority rule is not necessarily right, and sometimes we know it's not right, but it's comfortable because when we in the midst of people, we can't be seen. But anytime we step out and we're seen, makes a difference. But Jesus said we have something. We have what's called a light. And guess what a light is meant to do? Be seen. But he stands up for us. So here's the thing, people. Where am I going with this? We're designed to do something. I'm going to build on this. What's the point over the next few weeks? You're going to know the point of why you believe the way that you believe if this is what you choose to believe. We're designed to do something. So we feel like at this point we got everything, right? The way that we believe, coming to church, reading my Bible, praying, trusting in God for everything, that's that old-timey stuff. That's the way it used to be. I got information at my fingertips. I can find out the answer to stuff I don't even know, to stuff I ain't even studied. In fact, I got so much access to information, I know more than the scientists and all the other people because I can get to it just like they can.
That's right.
So I don't need to believe the way that y'all believe. I still trust, I still believe in God, but I don't have to do all that. That's that old stuff. But see, we feel like we got it all.
Come on now.
We feel safe in the fact that we got access to so much and we can do so much. Think about it. You live in a time where you can look in your wallet and you have no money, no folding money, right? No change, no nothing. And you can still go buy what you want.
That's right.
You got a card, you got a phone, I'm good.
That's right.
I remember back in the day, you were uncomfortable leaving. You had that standard, either it was $25 or $50 that you kept tucked somewhere in case you ran out of gas, needed a ride or something. That was your emergency money. Now you walk out the house, I'm good, right? I got my phone. I know I can call somebody. I'm just as comfortable. So we don't feel stressed like we used to. But there were other people in life who didn't feel stressed either. Felt like they had it all. Adam and Eve.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Saul.
Yes.
Felt like they had everything. They had no problem. In fact, God created us as a template. He made us after himself. Go to Genesis 1:27, and we're going to be in the scripture a little bit today, so keep your Bibles handy. Genesis 1:27 says, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. See, there is a constant battle between what we are designed to do and what we want to do, right? We designed to do something and we want to do something. Think about it this way. When you get a job, there's something that you're required to do, but what gets in the way? What you want to do. You need to be here at this time. You need to leave at this time. But I had something to do. I want to sleep a little longer. That's a want. I need to go here and do something. That's a want, right? I need to go pay this bill over lunch. I know it's, I work in Lawrenceville and I got to go pay the bill way down in Decatur, but I'll be back in time. Lord knows you won't. But that's a want. We make those decisions, right? That's just your job. But we're designed to do something. We're made in God's image. But then we have to challenge ourselves with what we want to do, what looks good versus what is good, right? So what happened? What happened to this whole thing that got us uneven? Sin came into the picture. Go to Genesis 3, 1-7. In Genesis 3, it says, now the serpent was more crafty than the other wild animals the Lord had made. He said to the woman, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? The woman said to the serpent, we may eat from the trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat the fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. Notice it was in the middle. Had to keep passing this thing. You will not certainly die, the serpent said to the woman, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. When the woman saw the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband, who was where? With her. And he ate it too. Then the eyes of both of them were open, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. So something entered into the world. Think about it this way. You got a relationship, right? Whether it's a marriage, a friendship, a business relationship, whatever you have. Y'all got an agreement. Y'all doing this together. But then something enters the picture. Lying, trust, lack of trust, cheating, backstabbing. Something came into the picture. And what does that bring with it? It brings with it a weight, a burden, something that enters the relationship that wasn't there before. Now, we were created in his image, so when I enter into a relationship, right, I didn't say, okay, now, don't cheat on me. All right, we're going to have a deal. We're going to business together. Don't lie and don't steal from me. I shouldn't have to say that, should I? In fact, many of us don't, because it's all understood. We don't treat each other that way. We made in his image. But when we do those things, a burden enters into the relationship. A weight comes into the relationship that wasn't there before. And it messes up the relationship. The world brings all this into your world when you start dibbling and dabbing outside of the relationship, right? When trust, lack of trust happens, the relationship gets harder, gets tougher. But Adam and Eve have something too. See, we're making this equal. They had the word just like we had the word. Not the Bible, the word, Jesus, God, right? So look at John 1, 1 through 4. John 1, 1 through 4 says, in the beginning was what? The Word. And the Word was with who? God. And the Word was who? God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Notice it said all things were made, right? Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of mankind. So now we messed up. Man messed up, and we got a burden. What's a burden? A burden is a weight. A burden is a load, usually a very heavy load, okay, that you have to carry. Now, in a relationship, this burden comes in, and we can talk about it. We can go to therapy about it. We can discuss it more and more, and it helps lighten the weight to where we can carry it. Notice the weight never goes away, right? It never completely disappears because of indications of what entered into that relationship start to show, even if I'm wrong, okay, the weight comes back full throttle. Example, you got a cousin. He steals, right? He has turned his life around. Everything about him is new. But you know he used to steal a lot. You ain't trusting. But now you like, man, he all right. He done changed his life. Look at his family. Look how good he doing. He talk right. He look good. Everything about him looks like he a stand-up guy. Man, I like having him over now. I don't have to watch him like a hawk. But Tuesday when he left, I can't find my wallet. That boy been stealing again. All the way, come back. I can't wait. I'm going to call. He done stole. I know it's him. He done went back to stealing. The whole weight come back. He spent years reforming himself. And as you walk out the door to go tell him your business, don't go my wallet. Put it back in your pocket. Okay. Notice it didn't ever go anywhere. It didn't disappear. Now, had that been your mama that came over, who doesn't steal. Hopefully your mama don't steal from you. But if your mama came over and your wallet was missing, you say, man, I lost my wallet. Mama, you seen my wallet? No, I ain't seen it when I was over there. God, I can't find my wallet. It never's into your mind that she might have stole it.
That's it. That's it.
But to him,
Preach now.
he did it.
Preach.
Because he used to do it.
Preach.
Notice how sin works.
That's it.
When you used to do it, you might as well keep doing it in the sense of some people. All right? That's the way they think. So the burden comes into being, right? We have to lighten the burden because sin entered the world through Eve, right? Now that sin is here, the burden is so strong, we can't operate. So God put something in place. What was that? He put in the law. Now, what is the law? The law helps, but it kind of keeps a few raindrops on you, but it doesn't totally protect. It's not sustainable. It's not permanent. It's temporary. It's a tent. It gets holes in it, you got to patch it up. The wind blow too hard, you got to hold it down. It's not comfortable. It's just something to have while you on the way somewhere, okay? It's a simple structure. You're still not protected. It's still not a lifelong thing that you want to have, but it's just there for you because that's all that you got.
That's it.
Okay, so you got to use what you got. It's not what you want, but it's what you got. And over time, you become dependent upon it, right? Because that's all that you got. So now, over time, the more that we put into this law, we treat it as though it's a permanent thing. But God said that's temporary, right? And he did something wonderful.
All right.
He put in a permanent solution.
Come on now.
He put in something that we could sustain,
That's it.
that we could hold on to,
All right.
that we could depend on.
Come on.
His son, Jesus Christ. Go to Hebrews 10.
Yeah.
Hebrews 10. Let's see this. Hebrews 10, starting at verse 5. Therefore, when Christ came into the world, Christ said, sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you prepared for me. He's talking to God. With burnt offerings and sin offerings you were not pleased. But that was the law, right? Notice he was not happy with it.
That's right.
Then I said, here I am. It is written about me in the scroll. I have come to do your will, my God. First, he said, sacrifices and offerings, burnt offerings and sin offerings you did not desire, nor were you pleased with them, though they were offered in accordance with what? The law. Then he said, here I am, I have come to do your will. He sets aside the first to establish the second. So it was the temporary that set the way for the permanent. And by that will, we have been made holy. How? Through the sacrifice of the body of Jesus Christ once and for all. Why am I talking to y'all about this? Because we feel we do the same thing today. We put things in place of God, even though we have availability to the permanent structure. Listen. When you walk into this faith, you walk into a place that's permanently there. The structure is sound. It is fortified. All the elements you're protected against because now you have a house. Notice when a person gets their first house, they're pretty excited, right? And they should be. They have a roof over their head. They are somewhere where they can decorate, where they can establish different rooms for different things. They have a place that they can be at peace. But you stay in that first house long enough, you start to look at it a little different. In fact, you can go to someone's house that is there to protect them, to keep them warm, to keep them safe, where they can store all that they have. And when you walk in, they apologize for the way their house looks. They'll apologize for certain things that don't look up to your standards, even if they don't know you, which means they're not happy with it. They're finding some discontent in the house, right? They want something a little different. Anytime you have something long enough, you start to want something different. Why is that? You start to look around and you start to see things that other people got. The styles change, the this change, the that change, and all of a sudden, you want something different. See, the world works a little weird. The world will tell you, back in the 80s, some of y'all don't remember this, but back in the 80s, there was a certain style. Then the 90s had a style, then the 2000s had a style, right? And when you went in the 90s and you start dressing like the 80s, they say, that's out of style. We dress like this now. And in the 90s, it was damaged jeans and ripped up this and all this type of stuff, right? In the 80s, it was more colors and splash and jams. Y'all don't remember all this stuff. But we had all these things, right? Then the 2000s said the 90s, that's old stuff. Now you got to dress like this. But there's only so many styles you can go. So now once you start to catch up and get your style together, all of a sudden they say, you know what? Today's style, we going back to the 80s. Because now all the stuff that you got rid of that's at the thrift store, they going and spending top dollar on that old brown leather jacket that you were like, I thought it was old. Now you got it back. Well, the double breast was gone. Now it's back in full force. Yeah, I got rid of all mine. We know, we got it. We paid top dollar. They keep you dancing because you never know what you can depend on because you can't depend on them. So as you look at your house, you have something that's in your house that is not to be touched. And that is called a load-bearing wall. The load-bearing wall sits in the middle of your house, and it supports all the weight that is above your head. Now, you can knock down a wall or two. You can change the look, but don't touch that load-bearing wall because that load-bearing wall is holding up the weight, the burden, the heavy load that is above your head. The load that you can't hold, but that's what the load-bearing wall is. Well, who's the load-bearing wall? Of course, Jesus is the load-bearing wall. He's supporting everything you got. But after a while, you start looking around the house and you say, I need to knock that wall down. Why? Because I got so much stuff coming from outside. I ain't got no space. I need bigger space. I need more room. I got to make space. And this wall been here because I keep having to walk around this wall. So you start messing with that wall. You start chipping away at that wall. And what starts happening? The house will not fall down immediately. But the weight shifts. The weight starts to disperse. The weight starts to go on other walls that were not designed to hold the load. There was only one wall that was designed to hold the load, but now you're placing a little bit over here and a little bit over there. But the load-bearing wall, you've messed with. And all of a sudden, you start to get a problem on your hands because the world said, oh, this is okay. Put these rules in place. Dress like this. Act like this. Cover your hair. Don't wear makeup. Don't wear pants. Do this, do that. And all these things become a wall in your life because you like, because I am like this, I'm okay. But notice while you dressing like this, washing your face, covering your hair, doing all these other things, you are not dependent on Jesus. He don't care how you dress or what you put on your face as long as you depend on the load-bearing wall. But now we dispersing the load-bearing wall and all these other mini walls in our life. And what starts to happen? Things start to crack. Things start to maneuver. The weight starts to shift. Because notice what God says. What does Jesus say? Matthew 11, 28 through 30. He says, come to me, all who are weary and what? Burdened. And I will give you rest. Remember that piece we talked about earlier? You're supposed to have that. All right? Take up my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light, which means the burden he gives me, I don't have to Incredible Hulk that thing, right? I can put it on my back and take it with me. Because we all have weight in life. We all have problems in life, but you can deal with them. Because the burden is light. But when the burden of sin and guilt and all the world's hurt comes on your shoulders, that ain't like, and your knees start to buckle, and your arms start vibrating, and stuff starts happening in your life because you done shifted the weight. So what starts to happen when you shift the weight? Well, this family starts to break apart because you put too much weight on it. The job ain't going good because you put too much weight on it. The church ain't good no more because you put too much weight on it. The friendships are all messed up because you put too much weight on it. God said, that's my weight. Why are you giving it to them? You trying to disperse weight because it's too heavy for you. And guess what? You got all these people in your life that's trying to help you. Because when I go to Home Depot and I see an older gentleman or a lady and she trying to get a couple bags and they heavy and she struggling, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to try to, I got you. But if it's too heavy, I'm like, man, hey, you need to go get it. You finna break my back. Right? Ain't finna pick this up. They got carts for this stuff. Right? I can't do all that. But you expect everybody else to. And God said, here I am. But all of a sudden, they don't love you no more. No, you just got too much weight. You're bringing too much to the situation. The marriage wasn't designed for all this. I'm not your savior. I love you. I can care for you, but I can't save you. So quit bringing me God's problems. Quit saying I need counseling and you coming to me asking me to forgive you. But I'm forgiving you for, I didn't die on the cross. I'm still here. There's only one person that did that. Go to the load bearer and put the weight where it's supposed to be. But here's the thing. This is what we can't do. 1 Peter 5, 6 through 7. We don't do this, y'all. Humble yourselves. Therefore, where? Where do I need to humble myself at? Under God's mighty hand. And what does he do if I humble myself? He lifts me up. Can I be lifted up with all that weight? Of course not. Cast your anxiety or your burdens on him. Why? Because he cares for you. But no. You ever notice, go back to that scenario, I've been in Home Depot so many times, right? And I see that man, he out there struggling, trying to put it on. I got you. I got it. You need some help, brother. It's okay. I'll help you. You struggling. Your arm's about to pop. You ain't got it, but you got it. How many times? We got it. I got it. We can do it. Humble yourselves. There's a reason why he put the load-bearing wall in place. Because when the house starts to fall, you notice a crack. What you do to the crack? You patch it up. Oh, we got to keep it looking good. We patch it up. Ooh, look at that. That look bad. Patch it up. So when I walk in the house, it looks structurally sound because it looks good. But to the eyes of a structural engineer who comes in and looks and like, brother, this house is dangerous to stay in. You ever notice when a house goes through some issues and the firemen are there and people say, I got to go in and get my stuff. They say, no. It's not safe. It's not structurally sound. It look good. It look okay. Whole thing may fall on your head at any given moment. And that's what we trying to hold on to. Something that was not designed to put the load on it that we have. So over time, I don't care if it's 1922 or 2022, the load has not changed. The weight is still the same. A pound is a pound. If I could go back in time and say, how much does this weigh? A pound. And I came up now, how much does this weigh now? A pound. I got to develop something to hold that pound, whether it was back then or now. So time has no impact on the load that comes on your shoulders. There's only one person who can handle the load, and that's Jesus. The load-bearing wall in your life. So, I don't care how pretty your house is. I don't care what you put together. I don't care how put together you look, how nice your car is, how much money you got. If you don't have the load-bearing wall in place, it will all fall quickly. So whether your house is contemporary, Greek, colonial, Victorian, single family, multi-home, duplex, apartment, it gotta have a load-bearing wall. So regardless of how you living, if you ain't got Jesus in your life to hold it up, it's gonna crack. it's going to falter. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not even happen next year. You may be, I'm just moving on. I hate when people tell me that. What's going on? I'm rolling with the punches. What kind of life is that? Who want to keep getting hit, right? Put a defense in place. You see the punches coming. Move out the way. But your life just so hard. I'm making it. And then you want to come witness to me? You want to tell me I need to accept Jesus and you making it? Well, I'm making it too. I need what you got. Do I want to trade this off and drag myself through life like you? Where your peace? Where your joy? Why you can't come? How you doing? Thank God, I'm doing great, brother. How you doing? Man, I don't know. I ain't feeling that good. What's wrong? Oh, I went through the same thing, but God brought me through. Here it is, you struggling, been saved 25 years, ain't got nothing to show for it, ain't got no relationship. I ain't talking about no money. We talking about money. It's rich people who got problems. It's rich people who ain't even making it. It's rich people that come to you for help because their soul is not good. And it's people who look like they ain't got nothing but got everything. And we thinking it's about money. God ain't blessing you, man. God done blessed me more than you know. It may look like I'm not doing good, but guess how good I'm really doing. Pull back my curtain and be pleased. But see, it's a lot of people that look good on the outside, but walk in their house and start going through, hey, what you doing? Where you going? Don't close that. Don't look in there. Don't want you to see that. I got skeletons in my closet. See, I ain't got no skeletons in my closet. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean that there's stuff in my past that I'm not shameful of, or that I regret about, or that I think about. But I had to open up that closet and get me some space. So I opened up my closet. I pulled all them skeletons out. I threw them in the middle of the floor. Right? I dumped them all in the middle of the floor. And I said, God, that's it. I think that's it. Let me get the broom, sweep these corners out for all these extra little bones and fragments that might be in here. And I'm kicking in the middle of the floor because I got to make room for you. Because if I keep trying to hide everything from y'all, I can't live for God like I want to. I'm trying to put up a front. I'm trying to be secretive. But God said, give me that. That's part of the burden. Throw it up here. Thank you, God. You got it. You got it? I got it. And that's what I did. I put it down. Woo! Man, that felt good. And guess what? Now I can reach in my pockets and say, this is my burden. This is what I got to deal with. I got to deal with these little bitty problems, right? I got to raise my kids. I got to be a friend to my wife. I got to handle my business. But guess what? I can do it. It's all right. Because the load bearer got the heavy stuff. I'm fine with telling him, hey, I'm humble. Take it. And now I can maneuver freely and walk. And you say, how you doing, man? I'm good. Because I ain't got all that weight on these shoulders. They weren't designed for all that, right? I ain't no F-150. I'm a human being. I look like carrying all that stuff around. We have to think like that. So what's the point? The point is God puts in place what you need. And guess what he said? For that little load that you got, for that light load that you got, that easy load that you got, he's still thinking about you. Because in Galatians 6:2, he tells us, he says, this is what Paul says, carry each other's burdens. That's it. And in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. That's right. So even though we got still light and he got the heavy stuff, we still got somebody to help us carry the little bit that we got to walk around with. And that's what we here for, to help each other out with. So now when you put your burden on somebody else, they say, yeah, I got that. I can help you with that. Different between somebody saying, hey, man, I need a little money to get me through next week. And you say, oh, man, how much you need? I need $4,000. Oh, well, let me get mine. Oh, man, I don't need. Hey, man, I'm going to holler at you later. Thought you were finna say $5 or $6. Maybe $100. Maybe. You pushing it with $100. But you gonna slap me in my face? You got the nerve to ask me for $4,000? What's wrong with you, right? You done made me mad. And this is a scenario. Some of y'all done got mad because you put a face to it. He would ask me for that. You know what? I need to get rid of that. Y'all done took communion. Shame on y'all. So the thing about it is, the burden that you put on other people, When God got the heavy stuff, you can ask them for little stuff and they'll be the right ones in your life to help you with it. Because that is the point.